homeless services, and nonprofit providers.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. We're here on this workshop, forgive me, Tammy Fields, Deputy County Administrator. We're here on this workshop to follow up on board direction to bring back information regarding the Homeless Coalition and some of our main homeless providers in the community. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Dr. James Green to get us started. You're being handed the latest version of the PowerPoint right now.
All right, so we're going to have some of our presenters present from the podium. So in September of 2025, Community Services staff presented information to the board regarding the county's contract with the Homeless Coalition. During that discussion, the board requested an opportunity to hear directly from the Homeless Coalition about their programs and services and their impact. The board later expanded that request to include several of our major homeless service providers, and today's presentation is a follow-up on that request. So is there, okay. Palm Beach County serves as the lead agency for the Homeless and Housing Alliance, which is a partnership of more than 60 nonprofit, government, faith-based, and community organizations working together to prevent and end homelessness. The county also oversees the Homeless Management Information System, which tracks homelessness, trends, service utilization, housing outcomes, and overall system performance. This information helps guide policy decisions, improve coordination amongst service providers, and ensures resources are invested where they can have the greatest impact. So this slide shows the results of the most recent point-in-time count. In 2025, more than 200 volunteers, including law enforcement, participated in the effort. HUD requires that this count be conducted every 2 years. And based on the latest count, homelessness in Palm Beach County did decrease compared to the previous year. The next point-in-time count will take place in January of 2027. Earlier this year, we had some significant changes that were proposed at the federal level with HUD, and in response, the Homeless and Housing Alliance engaged their community partners to better understand the potential impacts and update the local homeless plan. And so we've been meeting at least 3 community meetings to begin to update the plan to align with some of the changes that are coming from HUD. So the next slide compares Palm Beach County's point-in-time count with other large counties across Florida. While we're encouraged by the decrease in our numbers, we do believe that the state's public camping law likely impacted where people were located and counted, meaning the actual number of individuals experiencing homelessness would be higher. It's also important to recognize that Palm Beach County did make some strategic investments in recent years, including expanding shelter capacity, strengthening partnerships with our landlords, and reinvesting county dollars to try to serve those with lower barriers. We believe that these investments did contribute to some of the improvements shown here. So the next slide compares homelessness rates across Florida counties based on population. You'll see Palm Beach County is the 4th largest county in the state of Florida, and it kind of goes back and forth with Hillsborough. but it ranks 5th among the large counties when comparing the number of unsheltered individuals relative to the overall population. And this slide shows the distribution of homelessness across the 7 county commissioner districts. So you'll see Commissioner Powell's district has the highest number of individuals experiencing homelessness, followed by Commissioner Weiss and then Mayor Baxter's district. We also track this information by zip code, which helps us to better target services and resources. The next slide illustrates funding supports the homeless continuum of care and our response, including federal and state and local ad valorem funding. When homelessness prevention funding is included, the county's investment totals nearly $21 million, representing about 57% of all of the funding in the system. Federal HUD funding accounts for nearly 40%, while the state funding represents less than 5%. These investments support far more than the individuals counted during the point-in-time count. They help prevent evictions, move people from the streets into shelters, transition individuals into permanent housing, and provide ongoing support for those living in permanent supportive housing. On any given day, more than 700 individuals are served through our transitional and permanent supportive housing programs. In addition to housing these residents, they receive mental health services, substance use treatment, health care, employment assistance, case management that's designed to help them achieve long-term stability and self-sufficiency. Potential federal changes and proposed reductions in the local ad valorem revenues could significantly impact these services and individuals who rely on them. So, go ahead, Wendy. Now I'm going to turn it over to Wendy Tippett, who will share some information about our programmatic outcomes.
Good morning.
Excuse me, Wendy. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Sorry, can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes.
Do we have any, I know you may not know it today, but could we get an indication of money that comes from municipalities and what they're putting in? Because I know there's at least a few municipalities that have a contract with us for like the HOT team and some other, do we have, is that
Yeah.
captured anywhere in here?
Yeah, so we know that 160,000 comes from the city of Boca. And then the city of West Palm Beach, they do participate in our homeless continuum of care, but we did not ask them for ad valorem dollars that they're putting towards their housing programs with the city.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be ad valorem. I was just curious if we know, because you have a breakdown of federal, state, and county, but I was wondering for the cities, because cities also
We could get
do
that
some of this,
information.
whether it's contracted with us or even work that they're doing themselves.
Sure.
All
Okay.
right, thank you.
Please continue, Wendy.
Thank you. Shouldn't mess with that.
It should be slide 8.
It's still moving. There you go. Okay. This slide shows the exit outcomes for all county-funded emergency shelters.
Can you pull the mic towards you?
Better? Thank you. Okay, this slide shows the exit outcomes for all county-funded emergency shelters. Approximately 66% of individuals exiting shelter into permanent housing or another stable setting, such as treatment programs or housing with friends and family. The remaining individuals return to homelessness. Nationally, shelter to housing exit rates average about 32%. Programs achieving rates between 40 and 50% are generally considered strong performers. Next slide. This slide highlights outcomes for the Rapid Rehousing Program. Rapid Rehousing provides temporary rental assistance that decreases over a 2-year period of time as households work towards self-sufficiency. After the assistance ends, nearly 70% of participants remain permanently housed. Another 25% remain in temporary housing situation, while about 5% return to homelessness. These outcomes demonstrate that most households continue to maintain housing stability even after financial assistance is no longer provided. Next slide. While dozens of organizations participate in Palm Beach County's homeless response system, today we wanted to highlight 5 key partners that have worked closely with the county: the Homeless and Housing Alliance, which is our continuum of care, and the Homeless Coalition. Today you'll hear from the Homeless Coalition, which supports our continuum of care and are also members of the continuum of care. Gulfstream Goodwill Industries, which operates several of our shelter programs. Adoptive Family of the Palm Beaches, which serves homeless families with children. The Lord's Place, which focuses on individuals re-entering the community, seniors, and persons with disabilities. And Vita Nova, which serves homeless and at-use risk ages 18 to 24. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Alex, and I always butcher her last name, so I'll let her introduce herself. Chief Executive Officer of the Homeless Coalition. Thank you.
Wonderful. I'll take the clicker back since it's probably easier. Thank you. Okay. Is this on? Yes. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, County Administrator Abruzzo, and staff, and thank you for the opportunity to present on the work that we're doing at the Homeless Coalition. My name is Alexandria Ayala Long, and I serve as Chief Executive Officer of the Homeless Coalition of Palm Beach County. And I want to recognize that joining me today in the audience are several members of our Board of Directors, as well as Corey Sanchez and Roseanne Hawk of Atlantic Development Associates, and Sylvia Evans and Joshua Nelson of Palm Beach Accounting and Financial Services, who are our grant writing and accounting teams and are available to answer questions regarding those operations if you'd like more detail through the presentation. So for nearly 40 years, the Homeless Coalition has served a unique role within our community. We were intentionally designed not to be a shelter or a direct service provider. Our job is to ensure the organizations that do provide those services have the resources, partnership, and coordination necessary to succeed. Our contract intentionally prohibits the coalition from providing direct services or competing with our provider partner for grants. That structure allows us to remain focused on strengthening the system, not competing within it. Palm Beach County's annual investment of approximately $150,000 supports our organization, leveraging public dollars that attract private investment and strengthen the county's homeless response system. Over the last 10 years, the Homeless Coalition of Palm Beach County has raised approximately $18 million in additional resources dedicated to homelessness solutions. When we look at the county contribution percentage, it's approximately 16% of our total budget in operating costs. Over the last 10 years, the Homeless Coalition of Palm Beach County has poured $13.7 million in direct program service support through our partners. And over the last 5 years alone, grant fundraising supported by the coalition has helped direct an average of approximately $11 million annually back into our community, supporting housing, services, and provider capacity throughout Palm Beach County. Very few investments made by local government demonstrate that level of leverage and return, and we're very proud of that. Those returns matter primarily because homelessness, as we all know, carry real costs to taxpayers and to our county and city governments. By helping individuals and families achieve housing stability, we reduce pressure on emergency rooms, hospitals, law enforcement, and other public systems. Recent housing assistance investments provided more than $2.3 million in support to over 1,200 individuals, generating an estimated $54 million in avoided public costs, nearly $24 in savings for every dollar invested. Those are not just social outcomes, those are fiscal outcomes. And that's what we focus on at the coalition, because our value is measured by the strength of the system that we help sustain and the resources that we bring to the table and the return we generate for Palm Beach County residents and taxpayers. Simply put, at the Homeless Coalition, we're proud to be a collaborative part of the system, making a system stronger and work in a way that puts Palm Beach County ahead of the homeless crisis that we face in this county and in this state. So thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and welcome your questions. Thank you.
And next, we will hear from, I believe, Gulfstream Goodwill. So,
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and County Administrator Abruzzo. For the last 60 years, Gulfstream Goodwill has been providing programs within this county, primarily focusing on employment, training, and housing. Over the last 5 years, we have produced $72.7 million in revenue, and that's comprised of 37% of contracts and programs, $26 million from financially assisted agencies through Palm Beach County's Community Services Department, federal HUD dollars of $14 million or 19%, fundraising and donors of $4.8 million, and $1.1 million in justice services. And that number is $515,000 from the Homeless Coalition that helped fund move-out costs for guests moving out of the shelter into stable housing. Since 2012, Gulfstream Goodwill has partnered with Palm Beach County to operate the 4 housing resource centers. We offer programming through the shelters as well as connection to employment, job readiness, and case management services. We also operate 50 units of affordable owned housing. We have 18 units coming online in September in Belle Glade. And we're also working with Palm Beach Venture Philanthropy to redevelop Coleman Park. We work on the other end of the spectrum of homeless services as well in prevention. We have a senior homeless prevention program, a just-in-time prevention program that's funded by GL Homes and Bank of America, and that serves all individuals up to the age of 62. And we're also running a pilot program with GL Homes right now, Homeless to Home, which is taking families that are either housing unstable or homeless, and we're putting them in apartments and housing, paying first, last, and security, 3 months of fresh food, and 2 years of case management services. If you look at the outcomes at Melissa's Place, we're about 92% successful, and that's 2 years of supported housing. It really makes a tremendous difference in stability long-term. We also run the Career Academy of the Palm Beaches. We serve individual students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And the Career Academy's sole focus is to ensure that these students have the ability to receive competitive employment in the community. Right now, if they don't have that opportunity, they'll end up sitting at home and not being productive and missing the power of a paycheck. In conjunction with that program, we have Capabilities of the Palm Beaches. That is a program for 18 onward up to, I think our oldest individual is almost 70 years old. It's daily living activities, community inclusion, financial advocacy, and supported employment. So about 15% of our individuals in ADT do work out in the community. And finally, we have justice services for people reentering into society and connecting them with housing and with employment, which is very difficult for them to get on their own. Over the last 5 years, we've served over 27,000 individuals in Palm Beach County. Of that, 7,600 were through shelter services, with almost half of them having some type or form of disability, whether it was mental health, substance use, or physical. We have provided over 570,000 hours of training in employment readiness, and over 1,000 individuals that we've served have received employment in the community. And of those numbers, we've served over 5,000 senior citizens. Our housing footprint includes J Street, which is 17 units of affordable housing based on fair market rents, and the and income, sorry. M Street in Lake Worth, we purchased that 2 years ago with the assistance of SHIP dollars, and that is 9 units of affordable housing. We have 7 units on Tamarind, which is housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And in as I said, Belglade will be opening 18 one-bedroom units in September. We also operate 74 HUD housing units, scattered site, and that's rapid rehousing and permanent supportive housing for individuals in our community. Our intention over the next 3 to 4 years is to add to the inventory of affordable housing because it's such a critical shortfall in this county and across the nation. So the intentional focus for Gulfstream Goodwill will be to expand affordable housing. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you for the presentation. Just, I wanted to double check, you gave us your revenue sources, the 72.7 million over the past 5 years. Was that also all of your expenses?
No, the expenses over the last 5 years are not on this presentation, but I can certainly provide them to you.
Okay, you don't have that number?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay, I would appreciate to have that
Okay,
number.
thank
Thank you.
Good morning.
Let's try that again. Good morning. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and fellow commissioners and county administrator, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Matt Constantine. I serve as the CEO of Adopt a Family of the Palm Beaches. I've worked at Adopt a Family for 24 years now, and from my first day to today, have always known and been grateful for all that Palm Beach County has done as a partner of our work. So I want to start by saying thank you. So some of you have visited us and come down and visited our campus, but a little bit about us. So we provide shelter, housing, and services to families with children who are either at risk of becoming homeless or experiencing homelessness. We own 112 units of housing and also provide 200 families with homeless prevention services each year. And our housing serves a continuum of needs for Palm Beach County residents, from families experiencing homelessness to families attempting to become first-time homeowners. Much of our the agency's housing that we own is in Lake Worth, which kind of gives us the opportunity to have a campus setting. So our families really, I think, benefit from a really service-rich environment. We have mental health services, job coach, we offer college scholarships, budgeting workshops, and consistent case management. And because we work exclusively with families with children, one area that we've really grown in is the children's education. So we work very closely with the school district of Palm Beach County and provide a great deal of educational services. We operate a full-blown after-school program, summer camp, middle and high school program, and we also provide scholarships to private schools when beneficial for the families and students. This slide shows some of our agency-wide outcomes from last calendar year, and these results are consistent with past years. Despite the high cost of living and rents in Palm Beach County, we are still realizing a great deal of success. We also have a data sharing agreement with the school district of Palm Beach County and know that our children that are stably housed in our programs are outperforming their peers. We've done several studies which are on our website, and we're really proud of that. With all the tutoring and educational supports that we provide our children. And this slide speaks to our relationship, which we're grateful for, with the Homeless Coalition. So a lot of residents of Palm Beach County have benefited from this. Since 2014, we've actually served over 800 families with the Coalition's assistance. And these funds have supported our efforts to place families in housing, families experiencing homelessness. And it's been especially helpful in recent times and years as the cost for a family to move into a new apartment has approached $10,000 for first, last, and double security.
Excuse me, one moment. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you. Sorry for the interruption on the presentation. I just want to make sure when you say 200 families, is that mainly women and children, or could it be a man, woman, and a child? Could it be a man and children? How does that work?
That's a good question. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's all the above. Predominantly, though, what we see is typically a mom with children. I would say that's probably 80% if we serve, but we do have mom, dad, kids. We have all types of families. The big piece for us is the child, the minor child.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Would you mind explaining the Homeless Coalition Partnership and how it works?
Sure. So since 2014, we've received funds that we have deployed through the Homeless Resource Center, and they are 100% direct specific assistance funds. So in other words, our agency, we don't have staff associated with it or admin. So every dime we get for these years, what we've done is we put right back out to house a family. So we work with private landlords. We have housing specialists that try to find those landlords in the community who are willing to take a risk with some of the families we're serving. They may have poor credit. They may have had a recent eviction. And so those funds help us to rehouse. So it's sort of a rapid rehousing model to rehouse those families.
And how much would you say you get annually from them?
It's in the ballpark of about 150 to 200,000 in the last year. We don't know, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mayor. Okay, I think I'm going to move on this. Okay, this is just a high level of our budget. So the majority of the funding, which we receive from Palm Beach County, it's really two, I think, incredibly innovative public-private partnerships, one being the emergency shelter program REACH, and the other being the work that we do on the family side of the Senator Philip D. Lewis Center. And we're incredibly grateful for that support and also being able to play a part sort of in the crux of family homelessness from coordinated entry, emergency shelter, and housing. But as an agency, we were founded in 1983. We've been extremely committed to this mission for decades. And so as you can see in the budget, we aggressively fundraise, leverage, and deploy our agency funds in these same areas to make even a bigger impact. And so I try to end all my talks and say, that right now we are serving 315 families that are receiving housing assistance in our community, our residents. And so I want to say thank you on their behalf and appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we will hear from Dolores Place.
Excuse me, Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Sorry, just to go back, you had the slide with the pie breakdown of all the different revenue sources for your budget.
Yes.
But what is the budget?
So we have about a $10 million budget a year. And, some years we land close to that with the expense side of that each year, typically.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and all of our 990s and audits are on our website.
Please proceed.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Raymond Morse, and I serve as the...
Excuse me, I'm sorry, we have two more lights. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. I think one of the things that I've been noticing is the partnerships between all of the different agencies. So I think what is important for everyone to note is that while grants are a big deal of what you get, it's also the partnerships. It's also the going to the impacts of the Palm Beaches and getting your $100,000 grant. Jeff, you've been a recipient of that. It's going to the Homeless Coalition to do some support. So I really just want to take a moment to say the partnerships that you do are important to us. So as you're going through your presentations, make sure you throw in a couple more of those so we actually know. Because I think the whole reason you're here goes back a couple months ago when I said I really want to know how the Homeless Coalition is working with the other agencies. And it's been, it's been asked what the budget is and what the expenses are. But I think what we're trying to show here today is that moving forward, homelessness is not up to one agency. It's up to all of you. And all of you are the ones that are partnering with each other, writing for grant dollars. I noticed that in the Homeless Coalition slide, there was a number about unrestricted dollars. That is such an important aspect of what you all do. Because for those that don't know, unrestricted dollars means you can fundraise and put it towards anything, whether it's keeping the lights on, paying a salary, it doesn't matter. But most of the time when you write for a grant, it is very, very specific of what you can spend those dollars on. And a lot of times writing for grants means a little bit of mission creep, which is something that none of us need any of you to do, is mission creep, because we don't need you to grow in a direction that isn't part of what you're really supposed to be doing. Just as a note, Tay Edmonds, thank you for being here today, Representative. And I also see Rochelle Litt in the room for City of Palm Beach Gardens, thank you. But going back to this, really what I'm trying to say here is that a bunch of years ago, I didn't know what the Homeless Coalition did. And I was like, what do they do? Why are we giving them money? And what you're here today saying is that even the small percentage of what we give to the Homeless Coalition, which I think you said 16% of what Homeless Coalition gets was from the county. The rest of it is money that you've gone out and raised. The rest of you are doing the same thing. You have a particular amount of money that are grant dollars. And you're going out and raising funds because you have partners in the community. What we here as a board need to know, what are those partners? What is the impact? And I just want to say thank you for being here today and sharing with us, because there's a lot of people that are on the brink of this. And again, if we get rid of tax dollars, those folks that are on the brink of homelessness will be homeless, because investors who own apartments are going to pass on that increase in taxes to the rents, which all of you at some point in time are helping folks get into a unit. So what you said, it was $10,000 to cover someone moving into an apartment, first, last, and double security. That's a crazy one, double security, but it is out there, and we need to understand what expenses are for someone to go from being homeless to having a roof over their heads. And if it's a rental unit for a time frame, we need to understand the costs of that too. But I just wanted to say thank you for all being here today, and understand that the reason you're here is to let us know who your partners are, what are the percentages of those dollars. And I also thank you to the Homeless Coalition, your charity navigator. So are you all, aren't you, Lord's Place? Mm-hmm. These are great statistics. It shows that what you're doing with your dollars, they're going a long way. So thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. You do a great job here you own and operate 112 units. How are they titled?
So the vast majority, this is on, right? Sorry, Commissioner. The vast majority are in adoptive family's name. We're free and clear through fundraising, some partnerships with Palm Beach County, some sort of old school capital campaigns.
No. When I say how are they titled, if you own it, who owns the title to these 112 units?
Adoptive family.
Adoptive family,
Yes.
okay. And at some point, do you, I think this is wonderful. This is the whole idea of having housing next to treatment centers. So I've been at the opening of this, cut the ribbon, Dr. Green and I. So tell me, the treatment centers are right there on your campus.
So we don't have a full-blown treatment center, but we have services on
You
campus.
say you provide on-site support services. That is great.
Yeah.
All right, including mental health therapy. So do you have that mental health therapy?
We have a full-time therapist on site. Our after-school
On-site.
On-site. Our
This is
after-school
wonderful.
program is
So you
there.
have, wait,
Yep. Sorry.
I hear you on TV.
Excited.
You're great. So just take a deep breath. Okay.
That's cool.
It's
Thank
all
you.
right. Housing, therapy, right together.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, at a certain point, I've seen the families move in, and it's very exciting when they move in with the kids. What happens when they get a job and they start going up? Because you don't collect money from them, do you?
We do.
Okay, you do. Good. So they get a job. You help them get a job. They make some money. They pay not you, but they pay your agency. And then what happens? They move on.
Right.
You help them get an affordable apartment somewhere. I can see Dr. Green's shaking his
So,
head.
yeah,
But I want to hear from you. Go ahead.
Exactly. So the rent that we charge is incredibly affordable. It's actually truly affordable. It's a very, very reduced rent, very
But
reduced
it's
rent.
comparable to the money they're making.
It is, exactly,
That's what I
exactly.
wanted,
So
right.
we work with them in increasing their income. We get their children involved with their educational needs, and we go through this process. Our average length of stay is just about 4 years. And so we have some families who are able to work with Habitat for Humanity and become a first-time homeowner, others who go to a private rental, others who reunite with family. There's all different types of outcomes.
That's wonderful what you
so,
do
yeah.
because it's a process where they start with you, they get the therapy, you help with the kids, you get them a job, and then you help them move on to having their own apartment in their own name. And this is, I just want to congratulate you.
Thank you,
This is
Commissioner.
it's a whole idea of housing, therapy, and then you move on after the treatment and you go on. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Can I put a Charity Navigator plug? We also have the 4 stars. Sorry.
What kind of fundraising events do you have?
So we have several. The 2 big ones are one is a golf tournament that we have. We just had it like a month ago. We held it at the park in West Palm Beach, and then our second is an event we call Tree Lighting, which is in its 42nd year, and that is in December, and that's a kind of like a gala type situation, and really fortunate to have amazing supporters involved with that have been involved for years.
And do you know roughly how much money that brings in?
Yeah, so our fundraising line item budget is probably close to 1.5 million in gross revenue for all fundraising activities
Of
for
this?
the year.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
that's
would you say the
combined.
majority comes from those events or
The
outside?
majority would come from those 2, the golf and the tree lighting event.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Doing well, Commissioner. Good to see you.
Excellent. So, Adopt a Family is in my district. Would you mind sharing with everyone the community that you service, especially the school?
Yeah.
Tell the story of the school. I believe has the highest rate of homeless children in the entire county. So would you mind telling and sharing that story about the community that you serve and the surroundings?
Yeah, so thank you, Commissioner. So one of our programs, it's a housing program, is a partnership with Highland Elementary. Highland Elementary is located in Lake Worth, right on A Street. It's in the top 5 of highest amount of McKinney-Vento students. And so we have worked very closely with that school for many, many years. And when we had an opportunity to develop some housing, we talked to them and we agreed on a partnership where we would build the housing and provide the services, and the referrals would come from the school. They saw firsthand the kids that were doubled up, tripled up, or missing school because of chronic absenteeism and housing instability. So they refer families from the school to Adopt a Family. We house them and then measure their academic performance once they're stably housed. And I think what's kind of cool about it is it's place-based. So these are families that were already living in that neighborhood in Lake Worth, and they get to stay in Lake Worth, and continue to have that continuity with school, friends, neighborhood, et cetera. So that was our most recent program. So yeah, and I do feel like our campus has become more and more of a community center for that area.
Would you mind also sharing who is the chair of your organization?
Our chairman is Elizabeth Morales, who was the principal of Highland Elementary and now serves as principal of Oklahoma Middle School, and she's an amazing mentor and boss.
So would you say that even though that she went to a different school, she continues to serve that community because she understands the need of that community?
Absolutely. She's been a huge help for us, since she joined the board, but she still has her finger right on the pulse of everything that's going on in her community. And I think she sees a lot of similarities in her community as well at Oklahoma.
So I also sit on the Children's Services Council, and when I pull data about my district and the schools, the one that has one of the highest percentages of kids that do not attend VPK and are underperforming with reading levels is Highland.
Yeah.
So I know that you're doing wraparound services, that you provide an after-school program, so I commend you on the work that you're doing, and I'm a big fan, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I do not. Okay, James.
All right. So now we'll hear from Ray with the Lord's Place.
Okay, good morning. I was so excited the last time that my name is Raymond Morris, and I serve as the Vice President of Strategic Impact at the Lord's Place. I'm here today on behalf of our CEO, Christine Frederick, who unfortunately could not attend due to a family medical emergency, so she sends her apologies. First, I'd just like to thank the Board of County Commissioners for your continued support of our programming, as well as the Community Services Department for its leadership in strengthening our local homeless system. At the Lord's Place, we house approximately 300 people every day, and we provide comprehensive services to individuals and families experiencing homelessness. What is remarkable is that Palm Beach County is a partner at nearly every stage of that journey. And to Commissioner Marino's point, we have many other partners as well. When somebody is living unsheltered in a tent or a car, county-supported initiatives allow our street outreach team to engage them, build trust with them, and connect them to recovery, housing, and other critical services. And that program is offered not just with county support, but also with many other private funders as well. We recently secured a grant from a family foundation to expand our outreach program in the Glades, providing 2 dedicated people to go out there and serve the Western community. When a client is ready to leave the street, county investments help support a range of housing options at our agency, including permanent supportive housing for those experiencing chronic homelessness, as well as transitional housing for people rebuilding their lives after incarceration, behavioral health challenges, illness, and other crises. In addition to county funding for our housing programs, we receive support from both the Town of Palm Beach United Way and United Way of Palm Beach County, as well as family foundations like the Jim Moran Foundation. We receive support from the Quantum Foundation and many others. One example of our partnership with the county and the Homeless Coalition is through our Scattered Sites supportive housing program. More than a decade ago, we housed only a handful of chronically homeless individuals through this program. However, with the support of the Homeless Coalition, which funded housing specialists at our agency to help identify affordable units, conduct inspections, and coordinate move-ins for our clients, we expanded that program from just 8 housing units to now today more than 80. Once an individual is housed at our agency, county partnerships help us address the barriers that caused or prolonged their homelessness. Through our care team, residents can access on-site psychiatric care, medication management, certified recovery support, and care coordination designed specifically for people who are homeless. That program is also supported by other private partners in our community. Our major partnership is with Dr. Eugenia Millender, who is a professor at Florida State University and is a well-renowned community health expert who works to provide those psychiatric services on our team. As our clients' stability increases, we focus on self-sufficiency. Through county-supported employment programs, we provide job training and employment services for individuals who access the county's housing resource centers. These services include Cafe Joshua, our culinary apprenticeship program, where participants develop cooking skills while preparing meals for others experiencing homelessness. We provide approximately 150 meals a day at our Cafe Joshua location 5 days a week. And through our partnership with the county during some cold weather weekends in the winter, we also expanded to the weekend. Our employment programs help our clients gain the skills, confidence, and income needed to maintain long-term employment. But we don't only rely on the county. When there was a need to expand our employment services to the Glades region, we applied for a grant to United Way of Palm Beach County, who funded 1 dedicated employment specialist specifically to serve that region. And they help people who are at Melissa's Place as well as others who are experiencing homelessness in the Glades region. I'll go to the next slide.
Okay.
Thank you. This graph shows our funding. Private contributions account for approximately 43% of our annual revenue. Of the roughly $7 million we receive from private sources, about $6.3 million comes from individual donors and foundations, while $700,000 comes from corporations and businesses. Our largest corporate benefactor by far is GL Homes, which contributes more than $200,000 annually to fully sponsor our Mealmobile. The Mealmobile travels to Belglade, Riviera Beach, and Delray Beach, serving more than 200 meals during each outreach event, while also acting as an engagement tool so we can connect people experiencing housing instability to services and support. We also generate support revenue through special events, including the Ending Homelessness Breakfast and the March to End Homelessness. Many on the commission have attended those events, and we thank you for that. We also collect, similar to Adopt a Family, program income from residents in HUD-funded housing, and they contribute a portion of their income towards the rent. Government funding accounts for approximately 35% of our annual revenue. Of the $5.7 million we receive from government sources, federal and state funding contributes $3.5 million, while Palm Beach County generously contributes $2.2 million. County funding represents 14% of our overall revenue, and it has an outsized impact on our ability to provide our services. We often refer to our county grants as our anchor funding because they provide a meaningful level of support over typically a multi-year period, which is relatively and increasingly uncommon in today's private funding environment. That stability strengthens our ability to attract other revenue. When foundations visit us and evaluate our grant requests, they routinely ask about sustainability and existing community support. County funding gives them the confidence that their investment is part of a stable and collaborative effort. County funding is also critical because it helps us satisfy HUD match requirements, allowing us to secure and maintain our continuum of care funding. Without that support, it would be much more difficult for us to take on additional HUD projects, such as our last 25 apartment unit expansion that addressed a pressing community need. Beyond direct funding, the county provides valuable partnership and technical support, whether through capacity building, client transportation resources, or continuous quality improvement initiatives, or annual monitoring, which is admittedly both a source of pleasure and pain. These efforts help strengthen our organization and improve outcomes. And then next slide. This is not a very attractive slide of all of our housing programs and location. We wanted to share with you just the breadth of our housing programs and the populations we serve. We support individuals exiting incarceration, people living with serious mental illness, families with children, couples, and single adults. Across every program, our mission is to instill hope and to transform lives. And thank you for your time today.
I have no lights, but I do have questions. Oh,
Okay, yes.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
Sorry, same question. What's your budget? You gave us your revenues. What's your annual budget?
Yes, so in I think a feat of financial wizardry, our revenue is exactly matching our expenses from that report. So it's $16.2 million.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that is generally what you get annually?
Yes, over the years, I've been at the Lord's Place for over a decade. We've expanded our budget as we've expanded our programs. For about the last 2 to 3 years, we've pretty much been at $16 million. I can just give you a tiny preview and say in the upcoming year that's going to increase, and it's because we've really focused on increasing compensation for our frontline direct care staff because we want them to make sure that they have a living wage in Palm Beach County.
Sure. I did hear, sorry, your revenue and expenses are about the same every year?
Yes.
And what was it that you said you have generally make? Because there was a previous, and I can't think of her name to save my life right now, terrible names, that was at the Lord's Place, who was absolutely amazing.
Diana? Oh,
Yes,
our
Diana.
former CEO, yes.
Correct.
Thank you, Diana Stanley.
And when I had met with her a few times before she had left, and she had explained to me that your revenue annually was roughly was over 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
So has it changed recently?
They have, I think that, I would have to get back to you because I'm not a financial analyst, but, I pulled the numbers from this report, from our last impact report that we shared. And same with Matt, we have all of our audits and our 990s available for scrutiny.
And she said it was roughly 26 million, and that the county was only contributing about 400,000 of that 26 million. And what are we contributing now?
Yeah, the county is contributing $2.2 million. So.
As of last year?
Yes. And that also includes funding from the Department of Safety Justice Services. I forgot to touch on that, but they provide us with support for people exiting incarceration. So
I guess I'm wondering which of those are ad valorem dollars. Dr. Green, do you know?
So they are funded through our financially assisted agency. I can get you the exact amount. And so I think it is roughly around $2.2 million that we provide to them along with public safety. That's what
I'm saying. If public safety is a different pot of dollars, different fund.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it's passed through from state dollars for our reentry program.
Gotcha.
I would say that our goal is always to end the year in the green because we want to have resources that we can use for sustainability. We have a lot of people who are very vulnerable who are in our care, and we commit many of them we house with private individual landlords in the community, and they sign a lease with them for a year. And so it's very important to us to be able to help them maintain their housing. And so sustain those extra resources. If we lose a grant, we can ensure that their care isn't interrupted by that.
And let me be very clear, the Lord's Place and Adopt Family are some of my favorite organizations that help the homeless because you can see it, you have measurable outcomes, you can physically, there are people and dollars associated, and you do an amazing job. I was just a little concerned hearing that you used to bring in over 20 million and now only 16 million because I do know of the good work that you're absolutely getting done.
Yes.
Just so we're clear on that.
I understand. Thank you. I don't have all of the specifics about the dynamics around the funding, but your point is very well taken.
So thank you so much for all you do.
You're welcome.
Dr. Green, did you want to say something?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Did you finish, Ray?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
If I could just stay with the Lord's Place here for a minute. Sir, I have on this slide, I don't have a number on it, but it's the one that you have up there. You said it wasn't very pretty. I think it's great. I think it's very pretty.
Thank you.
I think it's beautiful. Because you're telling us and the world that you're housing all these people, 300 people per day. So when Dr. Green talks about our housing, in numbers going down, it's because of you and because of all of your efforts housing people. All right, yeah, you're homeless, you get a house, you're not homeless anymore.
Well, thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
So, again, the same question I asked before. When you have, for example, graduate housing, supportive housing, sounds like a college campus or something. I mean, are these housing where they can also get their treatment?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So one of the things that we observed just over the years is that, as we all know, there's a real lack of affordable housing. And so a lot of times we'll have clients who largely have been rehabilitated and they're ready to move away from our supportive housing, but there's nowhere for them to go. So this is a problem because then they can't graduate to the next step of their independence, and then a new person who's on the streets can't come in. So we actually developed our own network of about 30 graduate housing units where we can place those people, and it's kind of like a step down. So they'll go from having complete wraparound support and being in a highly supervised environment to then staying in their own, oftentimes shared dwelling where they'll pay a portion of their rent, still affordable, maybe $500 a month, and then they will live there. They'll have access to support and case management check-ins, but it won't be so intensive. And then after 2 years, the goal is them for eventually to move on to full self-sufficiency. That gives them a little extra runway to save and to have like a little emergency savings and for their first, last, and security. And then we can more efficiently serve somebody on the streets because we freed up their bed in our more intensive program.
That's excellent. So you're providing housing as well as treatment, and then they graduate with their with maybe Career Source or some other way that they can get employment, and then they graduate and go on to affordable housing, workforce
Yes.
housing, and a job.
And I would also mention that our graduate housing is not grant funded. So those are fundraising dollars that we use, and not only for the operations, things like utilities, but then we use our own in-house maintenance resources to maintain them. So they are resource intensive, but we feel like it's an important resource to offer the community.
How long has the Lord's Place been operational, sir?
We've been in operation since 1983, incorporated since 1983, and we started
Right.
serving the homeless in 1979.
We've done an excellent job.
Thank you.
I like the fact that you have treatment, housing, and then jobs, job training, and then a graduate out of that process, and then that housing is provided for somebody else.
Thank you,
for all
Commissioner.
you do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I believe next we have Vita Nova.
Yes.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Good morning, Commissioners. Administrator Bruzo, good morning. Good morning to our champions in the crowd supporting us. Thank you for being here today. My name is Jeff DeMario. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Vita Nova, and we occupy the youth homeless space. These are youth 18 to 25 years old. We're also part of the Homeless and Housing Alliance, which we're proud to represent that youth voice. And our mission is pretty simple. It's really to help young people reclaim their futures who are experiencing homelessness. We do it in one of three ways, or sometimes all three ways. We provide housing options, educational options, and employment options for youth to get back on their feet. We feel like this formula really speaks to getting back to self-sufficiency. It's really what every young adult needs as they're adulting, to have that support and nurturing community to get them there. Next slide, please. I love Commissioner Marino's point about partnerships and collaborations. Lord knows we can't do that alone or in isolation. So we work with a lot of people, and I'm sure I'm going to make some people mad by forgetting them today, so I apologize in advance. In terms of our services, we do more than just help homeless. We're not managing homelessness here. We're ending it, and we're ending it with solutions that look at the whole range of what youth do and need to do. It starts with outreach and intake. You know, we have a drop-in center right here in West Palm Beach. The Lost Tree Village Foundation has helped us decorate that, ongoing capital expenses to make it kind of a fun environment for youth to occupy and get services. So we have to be welcoming from the outside in order for youth to want to come in. It's a low barrier drop-in center for youth to come in. And while they're there, they can receive assessments to figure out what's going on. It's like triaging the issue. Quantum Foundation has been heavily invested into this project, understanding that that first touch, that youth engagement, is super critical for our youth to kind of acclimate to us. I mean, let's face it, these are youth who have been let down by most adults in their life. And so when they see us, we instantly get stamped with, this person will let us down too. That assessment is so super critical, and it contributes to data for the county and also to our partnerships, many of who are at the dais or the table. Essential services, you know, we can't talk about essential services without mentioning the Junior League of the Palm Beaches, IBIS Country Club, the National Council for Jewish Women, the Admiral's Cove Foundation. You know, these are some of the groups that help us collect things that youth need so they can take a shower and get food pantry and find the dignity of coming into the building and being able to begin again. It's really hard when you know that you smell from being outside in that Florida heat to ask for help if you know that's one of the barriers. We defeat that with essential services at the drop-in center. Health and wellness, to Commissioner Sachs's point. Look, if you're from foster care or you've been one day outside, there's a trauma there. And that trauma is pervasive. It lasts your whole life. So part of the health and wellness services that we have at the drop-in center talk about mental health. We have our own therapists, and we contract with groups like FAU and the healthcare district to make sure that we can get medical needs and other mental health challenges addressed. You can't talk about helping youth without providing a supportive, nurturing environment, and that's our case management that goes along. We're partnered with Palm Beach Youth Services for employment readiness, so it's all in-house. We don't need to farm you out to the career source because we have it in-house. We've built the relationship with these youth. They've started to trust us. Now you can trust us with employment, just for example. We have our own GED center in the drop-in center, and that is in a partnership with the Palm Beach County School District. And that's important because a lot of the youth have had their education disrupted. And when you have your education disrupted, your employment becomes disrupted. We know the more initials you have after your name, maybe the higher your paycheck. At least that's how I hope it works. And so we know that getting youth through secondary and post-secondary leading to trade work is super important. We partner with ChildNet for independent living services. This is to keep foster youth out of the homeless world because they have their own track they can go through. And we're proud to support older foster youth in our work, up to 23 years old. And finally, housing. We have an array of housing, and that's how we met the Homeless Coalition and the team because they helped us with rental assistance for 1 year. But I'll tell you that 1 year was 100% impactful. 100% of those youth got rental assistance and launched into their lives. Next slide, please. We've seen our share of success, and I think a lot of this is because young people want to be successful. They don't want to wallow in not going to school or not having a job. Kids like iPhones and nice clothes, and so we use that to help them get jobs and get their education. We do a lot with our food pantry is Feeding South Florida, helps us provide food on a daily basis. You really can't talk to a teenager if they're hungry, and so that's where a lot of the assistance goes. We're part of the homeless system where we do intakes. A majority of the intakes are done for youth through Vita Nova. Unless they have a child, then they go to adopt a family. Education and employment, these are youth that are getting jobs. Last year, 200 youth got jobs, kept those jobs for over a year. We have a program called the Sleep Spot, because basically all you can do is sleep there, and we had over 550 bed nights. That's about 100 youth. Some youth go back multiple nights just to be safe. We have our supportive housing units, and then, as we mentioned before, we partnered with the Homeless Coalition to make sure that we got rental assistance. What I loved about that program is that, I think working with the Homeless Coalition was our way of saying one size doesn't fit all for youth. This was an idea to attack low acuity youth so that they could get first-class security, because who's going to pay that for them? And then with the job and with their success, they can launch on their own. And I love that we did that, and I hope we get a chance to do it again. Last slide. We get 8% of county's dollars, and we leverage that into a whole lot more. We're pretty good at grant writing, but I can't take all the credit. Someone in the room is here. Roseanne Hawk was mentioned before. Roseanne, wave real quick. That's Atlantic Development Associates, and they are phenomenal grant writers, and they work with us and team to land a lot of grants in town and out of town. And it makes up for a lion's share of how we leverage just 8% into 92%. I think those numbers speak for themselves. I don't need to overspeak them. And I just want to end by saying there's more space, there's more room for work here for homeless youth. We're going to be excited about a new partnership with the Criminal Justice Commission. I understand they're in the room, and I'm so grateful that we have rekindled a new relationship with them to figure out how we can join aside them in their work. And also with you. Thank you for your support over the years. Thank you for finding out about us, attending our events, and we invite you to visit us to learn more. At that point, I yield back my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. DeMario. Jeff, and not specifically for you, but for each of the organizations, I want to thank y'all for the services that you provide, especially on the small budgets that you have to provide those services. One of the questions I'd like to know, and I guess we can start with you, Mr. DeMario. How long do the families or the individuals for you who be youth, how long do they participate with the program, and what are some of the outcomes that we have witnessed?
So speaking for youth on Vita Nova side, we have an average of 2-year length of stay in housing. Again, all those services are baked into housing, so it's not just the pillow. You get all the other things. And what we're seeing out of that is 5% might find their way back to homelessness. 95% will be successful and go elsewhere. Thank you.
Yeah, so in our transitional housing, our median length of stay is about 1 year. You can stay up to 2 years, but when we do data analysis, it's about a 1 year stay. And then in our permanent supportive housing, the median length of stay is 2 years. And again, that's technically it's non-time limited. And we do have many people, if they're chronically homeless, who have been in the program for a number of years. But when you look at all of our housing programs, it's about 2 years. So the short-term housing is a 1 year stay, and 2 year housing is about 2 years. We also, through the county system, track the number of people. So the county's data system lets us track the number of people who graduates, so you have to leave successfully, return to homelessness within a certain time frame, and it's up to 2 years. So when you look across all of our supportive housing, there's probably 80 to 85% of people who have not returned to homelessness after 1 year, and then that number drops to about 75% over 2 years. So we can say that everybody, among all the people who graduate from our supportive housing, about 3/4 of them do not return to homelessness on a long-term basis.
So across all of our supportive housing, we have rapid rehousing, which is typically about 1.5 years. And then in our supported housing, our length of stay is about 3 years. And I'd say HUD housing, we have a 98% success rate with the APRs, and our case managers do stay in contact with individuals after they exit the shelter services, so there are still supported services for them out in the community.
Thank you, Commissioner. So our average length of stay for our residential programs is about 4 years. But we also operate a homeless prevention program, and that is about a 3-month intervention where we go in and pay someone's rent who received a 3-day notice. For that program, 95% of the families that we served remain housed and do not get evicted for that year. Also, we, I mentioned our school performance kids. We know that 99% of our kids in this last school year were promoted to the next grade that we served, which was really exciting news for us.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you for the presentation. It's
Homeless Coalition.
to understand.
Oh, excuse me.
No, that's okay.
Alex, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. As we do not operate programs, I can say that in the last year, all of the funds that were pushed out to our agency partners through our CHO program, Creating Housing Opportunities, and the reports back from the agencies is at 100% success rate in finding and staying in a unit for stable housing.
May I please just share one additional point for your consideration, is that we operate a street outreach program by geographic area. We operate the largest street outreach program in Palm Beach County. That program reaches about 1,000 unsheltered people a year. They can stay typically for up to 90 days, but 3/4 of all the people who are exited from our street outreach program are connected to housing. So that translates to every single year, we are placing about 500 people directly from the streets and places not meant for habitation into housing, whether it's through our homeless services or just reuniting them with loved ones, helping them reunify with family across the country and in some cases even other countries. And so we're proud of that.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Well, thank you. First off, thank you all for the presentations, and thank you all for the work that you do for our community. I mean, it takes people with special skills and knowledge to be able to do the work that you all do. We have some amazing staff, I know, that work with you all, but it's really the work that happens on the ground that you all are doing that makes a huge difference in our community in helping both keep people from becoming homeless, but also, if that does happen, to getting them back and able to take care of themselves. Alex, thank you. I mean, in explaining how Homeless Coalition operates, I think that it's been a question for a lot of us for a while. I think today's presentation really makes clear the interaction that you all have together, and so I think you've helped really help define how you all work together, And that is an amazing thing to see, all these agencies. In a way, you're competitors in the fundraising side, but that you collaborate and work together to ensure the success of the people, and that's really, at the end of the day, most important. I'll just leave with one question, and that would be, what else can we do, and what can we do to be better at trying to solve this problem?
You want me? I think part of what we're looking to do is to leverage technology in a different way. We're already utilizing GIS to track our interactions with the homeless outreach team, but we believe there are things that we can do with the homeless individuals themselves in terms of accessing technology and using that to our benefit. So that's certainly one thing. Another thing that we're hoping to do is to build infrastructure to be able to generate other streams of income. Some of the services that we provide to those who are unsheltered may be billable to Medicaid and other insurance companies. And so we're developing some infrastructure to do that and to hopefully generate other streams of revenue that will mitigate the impact from these federal and state cuts that may be coming.
I would also add, to continue the work that is being done, like through housing and economic development, because we need to have housing for these people to move into. And that, I think they've all shared that that's one of the barriers, that if they can't move out of what they're providing if there isn't affordable housing options. So it is a collaboration even with other county departments and the developers in the community, so that the people that are being served can move to the next step and we can get other people into the units they have available.
Absolutely. That is, I want to emphasize that because that's really key. Some of the units that are produced from, say, the housing bund or other developments may be appropriate for those who we've stabilized in transitional housing. Now that they're working, we can move them into those units. And then we can move those who are unsheltered into to shelter and then stabilize them into the transitional housing, give them another couple of years, and then get them into those affordable housing units as well. And so we've had Wendy Tippett working with the Housing and Economic Development to make sure that during the RFP process that we're integrating some type of process that allows us to utilize those units that are coming online.
And I would like to say that it is critical when you look at shelter services, 90 days. That's not a lot of time to stabilize somebody and find affordable housing. Most of our, or a large population in the 90-day shelters do work. They're working homeless, and that 90 days doesn't even allow them enough time to save for slots and security. So without the help of the coalition and those move-in dollars and other partners that we fundraise, we wouldn't be able to house anybody.
Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, is this the end of the presentation?
Yeah.
I do want to mention, through the mayor, very quickly, if that we do have other members of the Homeless and Housing Alliance who are in the audience. So the organizations providing homeless services is very broad and comprehensive in terms of number of organizations. And we do have some other major ones like the Salvation Army and many others who are in the audience, but not at the table. So they're available if you have any questions for them to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
If I may, Madam Mayor, to the gentleman from Vita Nova, you handle youth, but that's 18 to 25. That's sort of like youth coming out, growing out of foster homes. Is that correct, sir? And you do a good job.
Thank you.
Correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, now what happens, and I'm asking all of you here, what happens to our student population? And I've just received the numbers of how many school children in Palm Beach County, and it's shocking, do not live in their own home. They're either sleeping in a car, or they're sleeping on the streets, or they're in a shelter somewhere with a bunch of adults. So without going into that shocking number, does anybody here work with our kids or student population?
Adopt a
Sir.
Family does, and I just want to.
No, I'm sorry, hold it, just one sec. Because I know your staff, so I get back to you. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah. Okay, this is on. So, yep, we do. We work very closely with the school district, and they refer families to us, unless you're talking about unaccompanied students that are by themselves, but we definitely, our campus is full of students.
Good. How about unaccompanied? How about kids who mom's, in jail and dad's absent and he or she's on her own?
So if that was an issue, we would do what we're mandated to do, which would be to call the DCF, the Department of Children and Families, if it's a minor without
So
any
DCF, now we don't contract, do we, with DCF? So you call DCF if there's an unaccompanied child who's
With no
hanging out in
parent
the
or care?
streets? I'm just
Yeah.
let me finish my question, because I know you get passionate about this. I do too. I do too, because our libraries are feeding these kids, and they're homeless and they're hungry. So if you find an unaccompanied child, you call DCF.
Yes, if there's no
Okay.
sign of a parent or a caregiver, we would want to be sure that child was safe and
Do you
relatives were
know
aware.
how many times your agency has called DCF on these children?
Not often. I mean,
Okay.
the families we have are taking very good care of their children.
No, not your families having a kid walking around, but an unaccompanied child that you find, you call DCF, and that's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
not
That's all
often.
right. Okay, anybody else? I know that Dr. Fields has something to say, but anybody else before we get to staff? Okay, go ahead, Doctor.
Although we do not contract specifically with DCF, they are funded through the state, and we work very closely with them. There's a lot of coordination with the Youth Services Department as well as
So we don't
Community
I'm
Services.
sorry, I didn't hear the beginning.
No, we don't, they're state funded.
Well, I know,
Yeah,
I know
right.
that DCF, but I know that if he calls DCF, or somebody else calls DCF from the Lord's Place, then DCF will come and take care of that child. Is that what you're
Correct.
saying, Doctor? Okay, thank you. That's
And-
good.
and they
But we don't
partner
have
with
an
very-
agency. We've got thousands of kids and these are numbers from the school district. So my concern is maybe we should look into this, because we take care of everybody, families and everything, but there are kids who have no families. And we know it's tragic. So will you let us know, Dr. Fields, what we can do to help unaccompanied kids, unsheltered kids, homeless kids? At some point, will you let all of us know here on the County Commission?
Certainly, most of the work is done through the foster care system and with the foster care system providers.
Okay, foster care has allowed 5,000 kids out there. So maybe there's a hole there. What do you think, Doctor? What do you think,
Yeah.
Doctor? Wait a minute.
it-
Dr. Fields, what do you think?
Is the system perfect? Absolutely not.
Okay, how can we help the system for these kids?
Through the continued partnerships that are here at the table and with other agencies.
It was wonderful what my colleague Marino, Commissioner Marino said. Do we have a partnership here? And Dr. Fields, would you let us know that partnership that will take care of these unaccompanied children? Will you let me know?
Yes.
And let us all know?
And the main one is ChildNet, who is the
No,
contracted
just let us,
provider.
is it ChildNet? Is
ChildNet.
ChildNet here today? Can ChildNet tell us today operates under your supervision or your purview or not?
No,
No, I know
under the
ChildNet.
state
No, they
purview.
don't. Okay, state program. Will you let us know what cooperation we're doing for these kids?
Certainly.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. Place of Hope is one of those local agencies that takes the kids that are under the age of 18, and they're all over the county.
Good. And is Place of Hope here? I'm looking for a solution.
No, what we did here today was more of a broader grouping, not a really drilled down to, there are 7,000 nonprofits in the county. I can't tell you how many of those deal with homeless or on the verge of. But I think what we brought together here were the larger agencies and partners of the county, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's what we were trying to do here today, was show that even though they have, I went through your presentations, and roughly their budgets combined are over $50 million. That's $50 million the county doesn't have to come up with, even though we probably fund 10% of that, maybe $5 million from the county in different ways, some from the Homeless Coalition. James, you can be more specific with other dollars, but this is a $50 million impact here sitting in front of us today. And there are plenty more of these organizations that are smaller, that are helping in smaller communities like Place of Hope. But it's important to know that there are partnerships. That's why we brought you here today. Commissioner Sachs, I hope that helps answer your question about other agencies. They're just not at the table today, but they are out there. So I do want to say thank you to all of you for being here. I do want to mention that we have, Ezra, you're in the room. I have to do a shout out. We have what's called the WARM Conference on June 30th, which is Weather Action Response Mission from 8:30 to 1 at Palm Beach State College at the Lake Worth campus. It is to help this particular group find out information about when it's really too hot, where can you go if you're homeless. So thank you for helping put that together. I look forward to seeing you there. And Mayor, if you don't mind, if I apologize, I have to leave. Thank you for all coming together today.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dr. Green, one of the things that you pointed out earlier in the presentation was, before I do that, Commissioner Moreno made a good point with regard to, and Commissioner Sachs with regard to homeless youth. One of the questions I had with regard to homeless youth is, there used to be, I don't know if it was, I don't want to say the agency, but they would give pictures to, when I was in the legislature, legislators to put on your wall for kids who are available for adoption. Do we still have those options? Because that may be something that we could utilize as commissioners here. We could place pictures in our office when people come in. They may see kids that are homeless and decide to adopt them, because I do know that once children reach a certain age, it becomes more difficult for them to adopt out of the system. Does anyone know about that organization?
It's probably ChildNet. They
thought it was
oversee
ChildNet.
that process, and we're happy to do a follow-up and make sure that if that program still exists, that they can share it with the commissioners.
Okay.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, Jeff.
The name you're looking for is the Heart Gallery.
It is the Heart Gallery.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
for adoptable youth in the community. Yeah.
Yep. Perhaps that might be something we'd be interested in. Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
The other thing I was getting to is, you indicated earlier with the point-in-time count that the numbers in Palm Beach County are down. Would you attribute that characteristic or that variable to the law that the legislature passed a couple of years ago, or just our numbers in our agencies working? Did it become harder to find or identify people who are homeless in the community because now less people would want to talk to you because of the fear of being arrested for being homeless?
Yes, absolutely. We do think the public camping law had something to do with the dramatic decrease or significant decrease that occurred here. In order to get a better picture of how, to what extent, we had to look at other counties and how they were impacted. We did see in Broward where there was a slight increase in homelessness at the same time, but then all of the other larger counties had somewhat of a decrease. It wasn't as significant as ours, which is 28.5%, but they were decreases. I think that some of the efforts that we implemented may have helped. We expanded our shelter capacity around the same time. We did take some of the ad valorem dollars and start working with individuals with lower barriers because we could get them housed a lot quicker. Federal dollars required that we focus on the chronic homeless population, which they have much higher barriers, and so And during the point in time count, we did notice that more than half of the individuals who were counted were homeless for the first time. And so it was strategic to be able to focus on creating a bridge program for those with lower barriers and get them housed. Another thing that we did was we focused quite a bit on identifying housing for them to move into. During this time, we hosted quarterly smart landlord campaigns and recruited a lot more private landlords to work with us, and we do believe that that contributed to our success as well.
Okay, thank you.
Are you finished, Commissioner?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner, I don't know which one was first, so ladies first. Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
Call me a lady. I want to thank you all for doing everything you do. It's not an easy job, but you're doing a wonderful job. And I want to thank Dr. Green especially for, and Dr. Fields for putting in the $300,000 of the $500,000 grant for the opioid fund that we have. They tried, they did it, try to put in housing, tiny houses at the Wayside House. We went out there the other day. It's not going to be successful because of city issues and federal issues that have come up since the time that we wanted to put it in. But what I want to point out to everybody, especially my colleagues, is that every one of the programs that we have, and I have a whole list of all of them, you also look at housing with treatment. And that's the whole idea of these tiny houses. So I want everybody to know that we tried the tiny houses under Dr. Green's leadership and Dr. Fields. Unfortunately, because of city issues and federal issues, it's not going to be successful at that particular place. One of the places that has the most treatment is the South County Mental Health Office, and we visited that. And I know you know about that too, Alexia. Visited that. It does have space, so that may be the next place for the tiny houses. We still have the $300,000 we can get back. Have another $200,000, so we'll see if we can partner with all of you there too, as well, because it's housing and treatment, and then that education to get them moving forward. Thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I did want to make a note regarding the conversation that Commissioner Sachs had regarding the ECF and the children. I believe, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but ChildNet has told me that they lack more volunteers to be willing to adopt some of these children and then provide them that foster care. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So if we're looking for things that we need to do is create a system that more people are willing to take in some of these children that are looking for that father or mother figure. So that's not just homelessness, that is child care. And we know that a lot of these kids that grow up in the system go into the system. So we got to try to prevent that here locally.
And then they end up with Vita Nova because of what's happened when they exit the system, and that's where Vita Nova comes in. But it would be definitely preferable if we can get the children cared for early on and not need that system.
So I think we have to maybe create a marketing campaign of trying to get more people to step up and be part of the solution. And so I don't know exactly how that's going to be done, but I think we need to address that issue.
If I may, we'll get youth services to work with ChildNet and DCF on what we can do there.
Thank you. So I have a couple of points. We've heard what you all do, right? So we're addressing homelessness. I believe there has been some state mandates or state issues. For example, now if we don't do our part, a private entity can sue us because we are interfering with their business. Would you mind talking a little bit about the political or legal landscape of this issue?
I believe what you're referring to is the House bill, and it is limited in scope, that it refers to people who are sleeping or camping overnight on public property on a pretty much continuous basis. So we've taken measures to prevent that from happening on county property. It does not necessarily address private property, but the cause of action could be by a business if a person was sleeping on a public sidewalk overnight. Then the business could take action. We have not received any causes of action filed against Palm Beach County. And I know that other jurisdictions within the state of Florida have under that law. We have not, but I think that's attributable to the various measures that we have taken, both to make sure that we're educating the homeless population that they can't be there overnight, and the resources that are made available.
Excellent. I have personally, when we did I think it was a few months ago, I went out with the HOT team, and they showed me where some of these people live. And to me, it was so eye-opening, because I drive by these locations constantly, and I never knew that there were people that live in the woods. That's where, at least where I visited, we were in the back of John Prince Park. I went to a location behind the Wawa on Australian and Belvedere, and there was a camp there. So these people are living out in the community. And I know some of them don't want the help, but I know a lot of them that do want the help, that are looking to get out of that life, and whatever addictions or whatever mental health issues that they have, they would like the help. So I thank all of you for being part of the solution. And I see our dollars as an investment, because by us being able to give you some dollars, you're able to multiply that far beyond what we could afford. So I see you guys as a partner in this. One of the things that I haven't really heard much about this is the trends and the data. Is this problem continuing? Is this something that you guys are seeing a decrease, an increase? What are we seeing out there? And I would like to hear from all five of you, because you guys are boots on the ground. So maybe we can go down the line, and Jeff's still here. Yeah, perfect. So maybe we can start with you, Matt.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner. What we're seeing on the front line is definitely there was a bit of a quiet down when the tax returns came. So like February, March, April, like a small slowdown, but last month or two, it's really picked up, and we're hearing, I think, a lot from the prevention, which is scary, because I always feel like that's the tip of the iceberg. A lot more calls for families who are housed right now, but are 2 months behind. A medical issue happened, like anything that happened to disrupt their sort of consistency in pay is setting them up, and it's big numbers. And I know the county had done a great job offsetting that with their Oscars funding, and I think with that being absent, maybe that's why we're seeing even more of an increase. But and the numbers are huge. Like my rent is $2,500, and I live on G Street, and so we're definitely seeing that.
Thank you, Commissioner. From the Homeless Coalition's perspective, we're seeing two things that I think are the most alarming to us. First is the increase in working homeless. So people that have jobs but are couch surfing, staying with friends, going through life situations. We just helped someone who's going through a separation and has a child and had to go on her own, and that became too costly for her even with a full-time job. So that stat of folks that are duly employed and full-time employed and still not able to make ends meet, tied with the lack of supply of affordable, attainable housing prices, is really what we're seeing that's causing that push. Because then the dollars we have available to help keep and find units to keep people in is being used on less people because it's more money. So I think those two stats are what we're seeing continue to make us concerned, because our goal is to get people at that easiest level and point of access to avoid them going down the rabbit hole of what homelessness causes. And when we're seeing folks in that space continue to increase based on these factors, we're concerned. So while we don't have the pick count this year, I would say the problem is getting worse and there is a need for more support. Thank you.
We've definitely seen a large increase in our prevention program. So we run the senior homeless prevention, which is, I say we've touched about 500 people so far this year, seniors that are on fixed income, and they have one catastrophic event, a car repair, an HOA assessment, and they can't afford to pay their rent and buy food and medicine. So we do a couple of different things. We have the senior homeless prevention program through the county. We also work with other nonprofits. So if we have a senior that comes to us and they have, $5,000 or $6,000 arrears, the county allows us to use about $1,800. So we'll partner with other agencies like Catholic Charities or other nonprofits to piece together different pots of money to keep them housed, because to Alexandria's point, it is so much more expensive once they become homeless to get them back into housing. And then on the just-in-time, we have seen a large increase, and we also see a large increase of homeless coming to walking up to the shelters without, going through the normal process. But I have not seen a decrease in last year. I think we case managed 834 people that were homeless that came to our building, and we were able to house 230 through the DCF Challenge Grant, but that hasn't gone away. They still come to the building looking for assistance.
May I have our director of homeless street outreach speak? Because he's actually out in the community and he sees people living in the types of places you mentioned. So this is Joey Nieves.
Morning.
How's everybody doing? My name's Joey Nieves. I'm the director of homeless outreach at the Lord's Place. So the trends that I see lately are newly homeless individuals. These are individuals that have never been homeless before. And we all go by a prioritization system to place people into shelters. These people will never get into the shelter because their scores are so low, and they may have had a medical emergency or their rent was raised so high that they couldn't afford it anymore. So those are the people that are very difficult to place because they may have minimal income or no income, right? So I think that's a gap in services right there. We do have low acuity and no acuity programs in Palm Beach County, and that's helping some of these people, but we need more resources for that. Also, families. So 8 years ago when I started doing street engagement and I was in the woods and in the parks, maybe one family a week we would enroll in my program. Now it's like 7 to 10 families a week. So we're looking at 30 families a month about, I would say, in the last 6 months. And then seniors being displaced from their senior housing. And these are 70, 80-year-old men and women that have serious medical issues, and they're newly homeless, and we don't have anywhere to put them. Bill's Place will help. We're going to open Bill's Place, I think, next month or maybe within the next few months, but that's only 15 beds. So we need more help with that, too.
Mr. Nieves, I think you touched on something that I've been looking at. It's the scoring system of how we prioritize some of these individuals. So the more chronic issues that you have, you're going to get a higher score, give you priority in the bed, where you may have a family who recently became, and there's no way of helping them to get back on their feet because of scoring system. I'm sort of talking a little bit about our homeless resource center, where I think we need to create a pathway for these parents or moms or seniors who just went homeless to get them a bed so that they can get back on their feet and continue to, whether they have a job, they need to get a job or whatever it is. Because what I hear is, and I hear this from the community, that we may give somebody 2 or 3 opportunities before a new person comes into the system. And I understand that if they go into the homeless resource center, maybe they can't go back after a year or 6 months. What's the time period there, Mr.
No,
Grant?
that's not true. So there's like a three-prong scoring system for individuals. It's their length of time homeless, it's their special populations, and then that's how they prioritize them for housing, right? So then there's a VI SPDAT. It's called the Vulnerability Index
Right.
Prioritization Tool, which we're working on to get a different tool because it's very objective. But those are the three scores that then prioritize the individual for housing. Matt can probably speak better on the tool for families. It's similar, but there's a couple different questions because it's a family with small children. They only have to score, I believe, a 4 in the family system to be able to qualify for shelter services. And then for individuals, it goes by what their overall score is. So like a 16, a 17, and 18, those are the people that are going to get into shelters. Length of time homeless means a lot.
Can I just?
I do want to mention that the no acuity, low acuity program that he mentioned that's not sufficient is the bridge program where we took ad valorem dollars and worked with those with lower barriers, but it's limited. We have limited funds to help those individuals as well. So if there was a way to expand that pilot program, then we could serve more of the population that Joey is mentioning. And so we have the infrastructure, we just don't have the resources.
And do we use the same system as they do, the scoring system?
We take those who are scoring low and they have lower barriers, and we go ahead and use ad valorem dollars to house them because HUD funding requires, at least it used to, that's about to change now, but it requires that you serve the more chronically homeless individuals first. So we use ad valorem dollars to bridge that gap. But it's limited, it's a pilot, and we're willing to expand it if we have the resources.
And we are also running a low acuity program in conjunction with funded by GL Homes and Bank of America. So we have 10 individuals that were homeless that, again, were low acuity. They don't have mental health or a substance use disorder, and we get them housed, and we give them the case management and wraparound services to make sure they remain stably housed as well.
Thank you.
So can I just mention a couple more points? So we actually just concluded a 2-year pilot project that was a partnership with the local family foundation and the University of Notre Dame. So we have contributed to the body of research that shows what's worked for these first-time homeless, low acuity folks. Throughout the 2 years, we actually served 200 people, and we were able to place many of them directly into housing without ever having to go through our shelter program. So we have the model that works. The funding has sunsetted because it was a time-limited pilot, and we're actively searching for additional money. We're actually incorporating that service into our larger street outreach program, and we just plan to offer it on an ongoing basis because it can be expensive to resolve somebody's homelessness, like on a per-client basis, but we know that it's effective and it's ultimately cheaper than a shelter stay. And so that's the first thing. And then I just wanted to mention, to address senior homelessness, we are in the midst of launching Bill's Place, which is a new supportive housing campus for 15 men ages 55 and older. It's going to have additional health supports, things like advanced care planning, and we secured funding to purchase that facility through the Palm Beach County Department of Housing and Economic Development, and they're also contributing a small amount of CDBG funds for us to operate it. So we are working to try to address some of the issues that Joey mentioned. Thank you.
And Jeff?
Yes, just to talk about whether the numbers are increasing or decreasing on the youth side, I would say the numbers are going up, and I think primarily it has to do with the two definitions of homelessness that are in effect. One is HUD's definition, and one is McKinney-Vento's definition. The McKinney-Vento definition includes youth that are doubled up, sleeping in couches or in people's houses, whereas HUD does not. So what we're seeing on the youth side is that youth who are doubled up, sleeping on a friend's parent's couch, is eventually put outside, and then they cross into the other definition for HUD, which is literally homeless outside. And so the number, that disparity has to do with a little bit of that, those definitions and which one the youth falls under. The second thing I'll say is that the rent in this town is like a bad game of musical chairs. You know, when the music stops, it's whoever can afford the place gets it, right? This is so bad that Vita Nova has started its own we're building our own 12-unit facility where it's not only 50% of AMI, but also price fixed to 30% of your income. So we got both of those things happening at the same time. You might find one, but not the other. And so that's an effort to kind of help with housing so that there's always a seat for a youth who's looking to get their own place.
Thank you. My last point, you said, Mr. Green, earlier that we invest 20 million, slide 7,
Yes,
correct?
Around 21 million. yeah.
20 million. How much of that 20 million goes into our own homeless resource centers?
About 12 million supports the homeless resource centers.
Say that again?
About 12,
12 million.
yes.
So out of that 12 is our own run county programs.
And I do want to mention that prevention is included in that. And so we have about 3 million in prevention dollars, which serves a lot of the McKinney-Vento families that was just mentioned. So it is important to mention that as well.
And in our senior centers, is that also rolled into that?
No.
Because, when we talk about prevention, I think our senior centers, and I see Natalie over here, they play, right now they're playing a crucial role in making sure that our seniors are fed. I have a senior center in my district. I've also seen the work that Green Acres does with their senior program, which, by the way, they get funding from the county. And these people, if they did not have a place to have a warm meal, they probably would not have a warm meal because they're simply having to prioritize their rent and all the bills. And we've seen what happened with the state with the condos and the inspections, and we've seen condo fees go through the roof because now they have to, I believe, put $1 million into reserves. And now they have to do inspections every few years, and they have to address whatever needs are. And that's public safety, and I understand it, but a lot of people in my district have had to, basically choose to pay those HOA fees overeating. So it's pretty sad. Our seniors are suffering. They're on a fixed income. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for the work that you do and continue to do it because we definitely need it. So thanks.
So there are a couple of things that we wanted to leave you with today. One, there is a Project Homeless Connect that's happening on the, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, we have our next Project Homeless Connect Community Fair coming up on Monday, June 22nd. It runs from 10 to 1, and it's going to be in Boca Raton this time at St. Gregory's Episcopal off Meisner. So you're all invited. You'll be receiving the flyer, the information. It's a place where the homeless community in the surrounding area can come, be connected to services that help them get on the path out of homelessness. So I welcome all of you. We have received confirmation from the City Council and their HOT team that they will be in attendance, and we're excited to be in a new part of the county because this is a county-wide issue. So I invite all of you to join us there. Thank you.
And the last thing that I would mention, if there is someone in the public who would like to report homelessness, they can go to the PBC Connect app and they can report it. They can take pictures, photos, and send it right to us. It goes directly to our homeless outreach team. They can also go to thehomelessplan.org and they can report homelessness there. It's important for them to know that. If they want to volunteer or give to the Homeless Coalition, they can also go to thehomelessplan.org and engage with us there. And then the last thing is if there's a property owner out there who wants to join us in this effort and help address homelessness for those who are moving out of our shelters, you can go to thehomelessplan.org as a property owner and connect with us there as well. Thank you.
Is there a phone number?
Yes, you can
That's like
call.
a hotline?
Yes, you can call 833 CSD Will. That's 273-9455. That's 833-273-9455. And if you're a faith-based organization, we have a very active faith-based coalition, and you can also go to that Engage Us app a link and just send us a message, and we'll connect you to the faith-based coalition that's looking to build housing on their land and provide support services for those who are doing things for the homeless, like feedings and things of that nature.
Is
So
there
thank
like
you.
a central website where all of that you just
Yes,
said? would be?
thehomelessplan.org.
Homelessplan.org.
Yes.
That's the one that people should go to.
Correct.
Okay. The mayor actually had a couple of questions, but she had to step out momentarily. Oh, she's back. 1 second. I was stalling for just a moment there while she was coming.
Hi. So, a few questions. Who gets money, which organizations, I'm going to have all of you answer, which organization gets money directly from the county, and which gets money through the Homeless Coalition that comes from the county?
So we don't currently get funding from the Homeless Coalition. We recently did submit a request to them if they want to break any news right now. But we do receive funding from the county.
But if they give you money, then it would be both. So you would get it directly from the county and the Homeless Coalition?
Right now, we only get it from the Homeless Coalition, but I guess if they approved our request, we would be getting it from both.
Wait, right? You only get it from the county right now?
Oh, I'm sorry,
or
yes.
from the Homeless
So we only
Coalition?
get funding from the county right now. So, and the county contracts that we have were competitive grant opportunities that were open to the community. We submitted proposals, and there was an independent grant review panel, and we got awarded those contracts. We don't currently, so we have funding from the county. We don't get any funding from the Homeless Coalition, but we have a pending request. If they choose to fund it, then we would be funded by both. But right now, it's solely the county, and I apologize.
No, no problem.
We also get funded by the county, and we have not received funding from the Homeless Coalition this year.
Thank you.
It's the same. So we receive funding from the county, do not currently receive funding from the Homeless Coalition. In years past, we have received funds from both, but currently just Palm Beach County.
Thank you.
Palm Beach County.
Would you happen to pull up slide 21? Under that number there is a number of 37,694 individuals helped through provider partnerships. Alex, which partners are you partnering with to reach that number?
Thank you, Mayor. There we go. Thank you, Mayor. That number is historical from the organization's founding, and it's been various organizations throughout that time.
But what about the past year?
Over the past year, due to changes in leadership is the reason why you've heard that they have not been funded by us in the last year. That is going to change. The request mentioned at the end of the table has been approved, as well as others. We are working on a grant of $350,000 that will be going out to be split among the agencies you see up here. So the agencies we'll be partnering with in the coming year will be Gulfstream Goodwill Industries, The Lord's Place, Adopt a Family, Vita Nova, and Families First.
And who did you apply to that grant for? Or from, excuse me.
Those are dollars we fundraised, not grant.
You said you were applying for 350.
We are providing a grant through Palm Beach County Community Services for the providers that are up here to access those dollars that we have fundraised specifically for CHO funding.
So you get the money from Palm Beach County to then provide grant dollars to the other organizations?
No. We have fundraised that money. We're entering into a separate, or an addition to our contract, an MOU with Palm Beach County to fund it through the Oscar system that's funded, or that's operated by CSD, that will be able to be tapped into by the agencies that are with us today.
But ultimately, where does the money come from?
Our private fundraising efforts. So the private fundraising, business, and corporate relationships. The money that we receive from the county is $150,000, and it's restricted to staffing.
And how many staff members do you have?
Two.
And how much do they each make?
I make $148,000 a year, and our part-time assistant is an hourly assistant who receives pay based on the hours she works that week at a rate of $25 an hour.
And you receive $150,000 from the county?
Correct. Annually, which is restricted to hiring an executive director and a part-time assistant. So none of that money passes through to the agencies.
How much money do you make every year off of the mayor's ball?
It varies. Historically, we can add it up to about $3 million. But last year's ball brought in about $300,000.
So you've made $3 million historically, but last year was $300,000?
Mm-hmm.
And then those dollars would get divvied up between the organizations, potentially, if they applied for those dollars through you?
Correct. That's typically how it's worked, and the organization has undergone some programmatic changes, as in not operating programs at the Lewis Center anymore or the Breaking Bread, Breaking Barriers, but funds used to go to those programs, and now we're really focused on the housing dollars. The CHO program is where those are going to focus.
You know, we're under a lot of scrutiny, even as recently as today, with wasteful dollars from the state level and everywhere. And I have been saying, and not just homeless, any homeless coalition, I've said it, even when it comes to construction jobs and so on, that pass-throughs are wasteful spending. And I haven't heard direct numbers that you have been helping over the past couple of years, leadership or not, that you've been helping the homeless people. I mean, am I missing something here?
I don't
Because you haven't been able to give out, you said due to leadership, any money.
For the past year.
just for the
In the past, they've been extremely helpful in assisting, especially shelter guests moving out of shelter for first, last, and security. So over the last 5 years, $515,000 was received from the Homeless Coalition to assist homeless individuals exiting shelter with first, last, and security.
I mean, to have a company to then give, and I guess ultimately, the contract with the county gives the Homeless Coalition exclusive rights, right, for fundraising for the mayor's ball. And it is one of the reasons I haven't seen the direct help to homeless. I love the Lord's Place, Adopt a Family, doing amazing jobs and measurable outcomes. I have seen this as a waste of money. And, you know, even if we would like to continue the contract with the Homeless Coalition, which the board, if they would like to continue giving you $150,000 to pay your salary every year, I will support them. But what I would like is, because we do have other amazing organizations that I think do an amazing job, I would like the county attorney and to direct staff to bring back the contract and see if we want to open it up so that other organizations could potentially use the term the Palm Beach County Mayor's Ball. And that would be my ask. Is there anything that would prevent us from doing that, David?
Well, the current contract is for 10 years until 2029. So, and it has a specific provision designated that function to the Homeless Coalition. So it would mean that we'd have to terminate that contract. That's the only way that you could, between now and 2029, end up having someone else designated with that responsibility.
Well, could you bring it back to this board at a future date, please, for us to see what would be the outcome or ramifications of that? Because if another organization could use that, like the Lord's Place or like Adopt a Family, I mean, and they could use those dollars readily, we haven't had any outcomes for the past year. Is there a performance clause in this contract?
There's not a performance clause. What there is a requirement for quarterly invoices to be submitted to community services, and in turn they disperse the funds according to that.
Have we been getting quarterly invoices?
Yes, we've been getting our invoices, sometimes more frequently, but yes.
Okay, if you would please send a copy of those to my office,
Okay, yes. Will do.
or to all the commissioners' offices. All right. And that's it for my questions, and
Madam Mayor, if I may, just to respond to a comment regarding there's been no outcomes over the last year, I would characterize it in this way. We have had activity throughout our Project Homeless Connect community fairs. We held 3 last year. We have pumped dollars back into different events at the request of Palm Beach County, including Smart Landlord workshops and invitations to join that program, the Forum on Homelessness that occurred in November. Any request, we operate the Parks to Work program that the county runs as their employer so that the employees, or I should say contractors, can be 990s.
and forgive me, that's great, but we have, for the Homeless Coalition, we literally have homeless organizations here who genuinely help the homeless, saying they haven't received any money from you, and your one job is to be, according to documents, a pass-through of partnerships. And they're saying they haven't received dollars, so I respect what you've done, and I even thank you for that. And if Commissioner Flores would like you to continue, you're recognized.
I do want you to continue.
Thank you so much, Commissioner.
You read my mind, Mayor. Thank you so much. So you're a pass-through organization. Can we do a historical, why did the Homeless Coalition, why were they created?
Yes, so you want to give it, or you?
I can, or Mr.
Whoever
Dr.
wants to
Green can.
do this, but I think this is something that was started by the county. Am I correct?
Yeah, so back in 2012, it started before then. 2008, a lot of community champions came together and formulated the 10-year plan. Part of that 10-year plan was to have regional homeless resource centers, which we now have. When we opened the first homeless resource center in 2012, there was a need to fundraise to help with the operations of the HRC. Around the same time, the Homeless Coalition, which is not a direct service provider, but just helps to coordinate and enhance services for the homeless population, raise awareness, et cetera, was having some financial troubles. And the county had just hired a planner, Marilyn Munoz, and so there was some discussions with some of the major parties, and then the county needing an entity to help fundraise for the operations of the HRC and engagement of the business community, came together and decided that Marilyn, who was a county employee, could be the executive director for the Homeless Coalition, and her position at that time was to engage the business community in fundraising, and they did that for a number of years. Around 2018, 2019, the Homeless Coalition Board decided that they didn't want the county employee to be the executive director. They wanted more independence, which was generally the way that it was structured anyway, and so they moved it from having a county employee serve as a executive director to now a CEO, and it's remained that way ever since. However, the mission for the Homeless Coalition has not changed. They continue to raise dollars, really engage the business community, advocate for those who are unsheltered, making sure that we're shifting the narrative about people who are homeless and filling gaps within the system of care.
So essentially, this is a organization that we, the county, started. At some point, they decided to go off on their own, and we have continued to make that commitment, that investment in that executive director to continue to fundraise. Is that a simple?
The Homeless Coalition started back in, I think, 86 or something like that. It was stopped 83. It was actually started by Governor Bob Graham, who started homeless coalitions all over the state.
Right.
But ours had financial difficulties around that 2012 mark. And because we saw the value in the organization, the county decided to continue to work with them to do fundraising for our homeless plan.
Ms. Ayala, what is your single largest fundraising event?
The Mayor's Ball.
Did the Mayor's Ball happen as it was supposed to happen this year?
It did not.
It did not. It's scheduled for?
August 29th, 2026.
So would it be fair to say that maybe because of that, you haven't been able to fundraise, therefore not being able to give money out?
Thank you, Commissioner. Very astute observation. That's correct. Because of the lack of timing on our financials, it's been impossible for us to have the money necessary to give the funds that we usually give to our partners. So we fully expect that, especially with how well fundraising is going as it is before the event, to happen this year. And just in 2025, with grant funding, we were able to house 329 individuals this year. So there's more activity with $489,912 being expended to do that. So
Thank you so
just
much.
because our partners haven't been funded doesn't mean we haven't been doing work in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are your current financials? How much money do you guys have on hand?
I'll ask my financial team to come up and answer that if you don't mind. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell?
Thank
have
you.
a
On that same token, Mayor, Commissioner Flores just asked a question about the homeless gala being in August this year. What month is it usually in?
The ball is usually during season, and it's historically been in March or May in that time period so that we can maximize the exposure of individuals that contribute to these types of philanthropic causes.
What pushed it out of season this year?
I would say a disagreement on the way the ball should be held and represented.
Disagreement. Okay. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sylvia Evans. I'm here as an outsourced accounting professional for the Homeless Coalition of Palm Beach County. I am not an employee of the coalition. I'm an independent financial professional, a CPA, who's had a unique opportunity to observe this organization through leadership transitions, economic uncertainty, increasing housing costs, and growing community need.
Ma'am, if you could please not read an entire statement, I just needed a number.
And your exact number that you're looking for is
The balance
assets of the
in the
organization?
account.
We currently have $1.41 million.
And with that much money, you were unable to have a ball?
That has nothing to do with the reasons for not having a ball.
Ma'am, I was asking Alex, thank you.
The money that she just mentioned is split into different categories. The categories for supporting the organizations come from fundraising efforts because we don't use other sources of income for these types of supports.
And the fund that you would use to throw the ball?
The ball is sponsored by business community partners that help us
Understood.
make that happen.
All right, thank you. You can have a seat.
Thank
That
you.
is it for my questions. Does anyone else have any other questions? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Moving on to the next item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are moving on to the vaping epidemic and awareness for public safety and the Criminal Justice Commission.